Did God need someone to love to be loving? God said to the prophet Jeremiah in Jeremiah 1:5, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." Only the all-knowing God can know all things about his elect people before they actually began to exist later on in time. Since God already knew his elect before being formed in the womb, then he could also be said to have had love for his elect before they actually came into existence later on in time. Just as God already knew his elect and gave them glory, so also did God already know Christ and give him glory as a genuine child born and son given. Therefore, it is possible for God to have foreknown his elect as well as have foreloved his elect. Because God is a God of love, he could be said to have loved his elect before the foundation of the world, before they actually came into existence. Trinitarians often allege that God needed two other God persons to love to be a God of love. Yet if God needed two other divine persons to love to be called a God of love, then he also needed two other divine persons to be a consuming fire, because God is called a consuming fire in Hebrews 12:29. Hebrews 12:29 states that our God is a consuming fire. So if God always needed an object to love throughout eternity past in order to be a God of love before he created angels and men, then God must also have needed an object of judgment to be a God of judgment. For if one attribute of God must have had an object to demonstrate that attribute throughout eternity past, then so must all of God's attributes have needed an object to demonstrate each attribute. Therefore, if God needed someone to love throughout eternity past in order to be a God of love, then so must God have always needed an object to consume by fire to be called a consuming fire. Our God is a consuming fire. So if we follow the Trinitarian logic, the God who needed someone to love in order to be a God of love would have also needed someone to consume by fire to be a God who is a consuming fire. Therefore, all three alleged members of the Trinity would have had to have been burning each other and consuming each other by fire throughout eternity past for God to be a God who is a consuming fire. Here we see the Trinitarian logic makes no sense. Wherefore, Trinitarians cannot allege that God needed two other God persons with him throughout eternity past to be a God of love, without also saying that God needed two other God persons to consume by fire in order to be a God who is a consuming fire. If you have enjoyed this video, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel or visit us on the web at apostolic christian faith.com. Lord bless.